Hey guys, Rob, aka Devildog here from Explorminate, here with our final episode of Polaris Sector. In doing this final episode, I'm basically going to summarize what it is that we've done and talk about what it is that I like and don't like about this game. Not as an official review, but as sort of feedback, like beta feedback, right? And I think the only reason that I'm doing this, because I would be really reticent to provide beta feedback of a game that's still in beta publicly. But the reason that I'm going to do this is because I think, for the most part, this game is really damn good. Especially for a one-man event, like a one-man project. It's just mind-blowingly good. There's so many things going really well for it that getting into some sort of like summary synopsis of what it is I like and don't like is going to be so positive that I don't think anyone would turn down positive feedback. So again, my hat's off to you, Vladimir. You've done a really good job. The concepts and the mechanics of this game work really well. I'm particularly excited about the resource mechanic. I think that you've balanced it well already, that the need to pick up new planets to help provide, the resources required for shipbuilding and food production and all these things to your empire is just really working well. I like that I'm limited in my expansion by some of these excuse me, by some of these like these understandable resource limitations, and that really works out very well. And I think ship combat works well. I think that even though I'm not a huge RTS fan, it works well because it feels tactical. It can be slowed down. I really feel like some of the stuff that I'm doing makes sense. I can pull ships into sort of like little traps. I mean, these things are really, there's so many good things about it that I think that what I'm about to say and all the stuff that I'm going to say feels a little nitpicky. But with the base formula you have, it could be a legend. This game could be something that people talk about 10 years from now because it has done so many good things. Let's just go ahead and lay it all on the floor. So, first of all, the game graphically isn't perfect, and it certainly isn't like super modern, but it does a decent job. This screen, it looks pleasant enough that I don't mind looking at it. This screen looks pleasant enough that I don't mind looking at it. I would like to see maybe a rotation of various backgrounds, and maybe maybe more star colors than white, red, and yellow. It would be nice to see blues and greens and just something, a little different to flesh this out and make it look a little prettier. And I think that the diplomacy screens for the various alien races that these are good. They're not the best ever, but they are serviceable, and certainly they do their job well enough. Now that I'm looking at it, it would be nice to see this fixed. I'm running it the 1080p, and this doesn't seem to fit on the screen, so that could be fixed. So yeah, graphically this game does the job well. It's not going to be winning any awards for its graphics, but 4X games aren't about graphics, and in particular I think if you've got serviceable graphics like you do here, that they do enough to not be an issue. So the graphics are good. Graphics are good enough. The rest of the game mechanics are really good. There are a few things that I think need to be fixed. So what comes next is nitpicking. Some nitpicking and some legitimate feedback. We'll start with legitimate feedback. I think that the exploration mechanic is easily the weakest point in the Polaris Sector. The various star systems all look exactly alike. They have different planet compositions, no doubt, but there isn't anything exciting about any of them. So while I'm looking for planets that may fit my resource management requirements, there aren't any planets that stand out. There aren't any like really exciting planets that might have resources, a particular resource in crazy abundance, or you don't find any Gaia planets. You don't run into black holes. You don't run into dead dead stars. You don't. Every star you travel to is going to have planets. Whether or not they're planets that you can inhabit at first, that's a different story. But there's nothing that you're going to find among your exploration that really feels exciting, and I think that's definitely to its detriment. The little boxes that you can find and explore, and get some plutonium or something like that. Those are cool. I'd like to see them graphically represented a little better instead of having a little question mark. It would be nice to see something a little bit cooler than that. But again, nitpicking. The but the rest of exploration is just kind of dull, and I think the only reason that Polaris Sector gets away with it right now is because everything else is so good. The empire management does become a lot more fun than most games, and it becomes a lot more manageable because of the automation processes that this game has. But if you could shore up exploration and make it fun and make it exciting, this game could really benefit from it. And I think that it would be very hard to find fault with anything if you could do some things like that. So my suggestions are, maybe add some black holes, maybe add some dead stars, maybe add minor factions, maybe add planets, Gaia planets, or planets that are really abundant in a particular resource. Those kind of things create friction, like my alien neighbors might want those. So anything like that would be really a great addition to this game. Another thing is I'd like to see icons. We've talked about it, but here I know that it's easy to tell that they're within my borders, but these little triangles aren't exactly too obvious to know that there's a planet there that I've inhabited. So I'd really like to see icons associated with each of the races and have each of those icons at planet systems that I have colonized. So in this case, this could be like a cool little, I don't know what the Magellan's icon or symbol would look like, but having that over it would be great. So, or around it, or where the triangle is even, just a nice little, quick little icon that I could quickly glance at and be like, oh yeah, that is owned by the Magellans. Even though I'm within my green borders, it would look better than having this triangle, this little white triangle, that again you can see at a distance, but it would be just nicer and more obvious to have race-specific icons. Again, a nitpick. I understand that I'm going to nitpick, but I think that some of these things could really be the polish points that create a classic instead of just being a really good game. Now, the other things that I was going to talk about are that the whole space factory thing, the whole orbital factory thing. Now, I understand that, now I understand because I'm recording this a few days after I recorded my initial series, and in doing so, I know now that the orbital shipyard requires 3 factories before you can build it. You wouldn't know that until you could see orbital shipyard within your build queue, because once you click on orbital shipyard, it says creating such a shipyard requires that a minimum of 3 earthbound shipyards already exist, which is actually wrong. Creating such a shipyard requires that a minimum of 3 factories exist, not shipyards. But what I'd really like to see, and this is something where I think the game could use a general pass over, is information presented in a way that's a little bit more accessible. So in this case, let's go back to. I would also like a next colony button instead of previous planet in the system. I don't really care about that as much as I want to see like a next colony button. If I click this, it would be nice to go to the next colony that I actually have. But let's go to Botine for a second, and I'll show you something. Here it says that population is required 5,000, and that's something that I don't have. What I'd really like to see is for buildings that I have accessed technologically through my technology tree, to be present here, even if I don't have the necessary requirements. So, like here, I can't really build this just yet because I don't have 5,000 population. So why is it that when I initially get a planet, that I obviously have the technology capable, or the capable technology to build orbital shipyards? Why isn't it in this list? It should be in this list, and it should be either grayed out, or it should say in big red letters, or even both. But it should be grayed out and have big red letters saying that I need 3 factories to build it. Um, yeah, so that kind of information needs to be a lot more presented, or a lot more presentable, a lot more obvious, because as you saw, somebody who's, I mean, I'm not stupid, I'm not unfamiliar with 4X games. I had no idea how to do this, so that needs to be a lot more obvious. Speaking of maybe no idea, or maybe a little less understood, is this research screen. So I understand that when you're developing, when you're putting generated science points into the fundamental sciences, you're unlocking applied sciences. And then once you've unlocked those applied sciences, you can use the science points you've generated to unlock specific technology subjects within those applied sciences. However, I think a lot of it's just a little less obvious. So I think what needs to happen is 2 things. First, you need a search function in this. You need to be able to search any sort of technology through keywords. Like if I really wanted to find out a topic that I could research that would increase my food production, I should be able to type in food production into the search and, you know, get some information, anything that might have food production within the description, or, you know, summary of it. So that's one thing that I think needs to happen. Second is that I think there needs to be some sort of help overlay, whereas I can come down to like the bottom right here where your view options are, and see an overlay that kind of helps me. It just basically explains how this all works. Now that I understand, it's a little bit easier, but as a newcomer, it would be difficult. It was difficult for me to understand exactly what was going on. So yeah, those 2 need to happen, no doubt. So view options maybe even can have as a filter, maybe helping, or some sort of help, you know, like I said, overlay would probably be the best way I could say it. So those are some of the usability issues, and in continuing on with those usability issues, I would say that the ground combat needs to be a little bit more understood too, a little bit more, basically explained better, because as Ashberry76 said, he's one of our Steam group members and one of the Explominate guys, really good guy, he's been around with us for a while. He made a really good point about the fact that ground combat isn't really necessarily explained very well, and I can totally agree with him. It is like the developer responded. He did say that the strengths and weaknesses of each of the units are explained in their description. So in this case, like a tank is very effective against infantry, but vulnerable against ground attack. But vulnerable for is not, again, it's a grammar issue, but vulnerable from or vulnerable to ground attack aircraft, and aircrafts is not plural. And it's more expensive than infantry. So basically, it's better. It's good against infantry, but it's vulnerable against ground attack aircraft. And so, you know, if you go into a planet with a bunch of infantry, you might want to take a bunch of tanks. But that kind of information is a little bit hard to get, a little bit hard to access, and it's not really presented well on the actual invasion screen. If you guys remember, Izar was invaded last episode, and it was kind of hard to tell what was going on and how I was doing and why I was doing well. So, some information would be better. It needs to be presented well in a way that's understood and helps me understand what I should comprise my armies of, and all that. Let me think if there's anything else. So, I mean, sort of as a summary, the graphics are good. Add some more backgrounds. Add some more star colors, just to kind of vary this up again. Again, it's nitpicking. Add some more usability things that helps me understand the information that I'm being presented. Add some more excitement to the exploration phase. In future expansions, it'd be nice to see races that are actually a little less I don't know, normal. It would be really good to see alien races that were really truly alien. Check out Ascendancy. They had some really fantastic alien races that felt truly alien. Um, it would also be good to see each of those races receive their own tech tree, or at least some technologies that are unique to each of them. In any sort of way you can flesh out the asymmetry of each of the races going forward is also a good thing. So every time that I play a separate race, it should feel like a different experience. I should be changing my strategies each and every time, and that does happen to a degree here, because they each start with different technologies and they each have different strengths, but they tend to feel a little too similar for my tastes. But again, so many other things are going well for this game that I don't really feel particularly bothered by that. And I think the things that I'm most bothered by are the lack of exploration and the information issues that are I think they've been pretty obvious for anyone who's watching these last few episodes, where I haven't really been there's I get sometimes you overlook things, and I guess I did overlook a couple things here and there, but the information should be presented in a way that it's very difficult for me to overlook it. So the other thing that now I'm thinking about it, the other thing that I'd really like to understand is what the hell is going on with the Aerions and all these things. I have no idea what this stuff is all about, and I have no idea how to unlock these ships. I have no idea what's going on with that whole storyline. Being able to reference that storyline would be great, and having a little bit more idea what the hell I'm supposed to do to unlock these, or to do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do with these things, that'd be great. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, the game is doing so many things right that it's hard to be critical. The criticisms are definitely aimed at making this a better game. Right now, I could see this being a game that we could recommend. I want to see it being a game that's exemplary. I want to see those those weaknesses, overcome. Does that work? Yeah, I guess that works. I doubted myself. Yeah, I want to see those weaknesses being overcome and pushed through and shored up, and see this game become a game that we're talking about in 20 years, when we're saying, oh yeah, you remember Polaris Sector? It was like a Distant Worlds light that ended up being better than Distant Worlds, because it's obviously and honestly a better game than vanilla Distant Worlds. There's no doubt in my mind that this has the potential of being a game that we can remember as being one of the best indie 4X games ever. So if we can shore these things up, really just sort of take a look at what's not working for this game and get them better, then I think that works for everybody. So in summary, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's not working for this game. But I just, there's so many things that are working that it's more about fine-tuning it than it is about making this a different game. So my hat's off to you, Vladimir. You've done a very good job. Continue working on this, please. Continue making this game its own little thing. And there's, I've got so much more feedback that I could give you that would make this game, a classic. So I'll definitely write more as I think about it. But the only reason I even felt comfortable doing this with this game in a beta state is because it's doing so many things right, that being a little nitpicky and talking about the things that it's not doing right felt okay, because I don't think it's overwhelming. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching these 6 episodes of Polaris Sector. I will definitely do more as I see more. I don't know if we'll do any more pre-release episodes, but with the release, we'll definitely have a couple like gameplay explanation videos and stuff like that as we get more time with it, as I get more time with it to kind of understand the economy and resource systems a little better, and definitely the technology tree and all that stuff. That'll be something that I'll definitely have videos for, so that the people that are new to it, once it comes out in March, can understand it quickly. And that's pretty much it for now. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, or if you have any comments, or you have any suggestions, or if you have any complaints or criticisms about what I've said, please let me know. Let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, keep an eye on this. We'll definitely be reporting on it as soon as it gets, well, basically as soon as it releases, and we'll hopefully have a release day ready review for you guys. And yeah, it's been fun, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys and see you guys in the next series. Bye.